incredible panel of industry leaders, beginning with the lead economist of World Bank, Dr. Gonzalo Varela. Joining the good doctor here on stage, please welcome the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Undersecretary for E-Government, Department of Information and Communications Technology. Please welcome Tirso Raymond Gutierrez. Joining them here on stage, the Chief Information Officer of Asian Hospital and Medical Center, Mr. Frank Vibar. And leading us in this panel discussion is our moderator, the lead convener of Alliance of Tech Innovators for the Nation, or ATIN. We have Mr. Monchito Ibrahim.
Thank you, RJ. Wow, we have a full house here. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to today's panel on AI, government, software as a service, unlocking growth in the Philippine digital economy. Let me just correct, I'm actually here not just representing the Alliance of Tech Innovators for the Nation, which is the organization of all the e-commerce platform players in the Philippines, people like Shopee, Lazada, Grab, Lalamove. But I think my role today is more on the AI, dimension. I am the Vice President of the Analytics and the Artificial Intelligence Association of the Philippines. It's the organization of AI and data professionals and practitioners in the Philippines. We have about a little over 1,800 members scattered all over the country. So that's my background. This timely conversation brings together very, very prominent speakers. Dr. Varela, my good friend, and Tocayo Mon Gutierrez, and of course, representing the healthcare sector, we have Mr. Frank Vibar. We're actually going to try to explore the transformative potential of artificial intelligence and software as a service in driving the Philippines' digital growth. The Philippines today is at a pivotal moment where the government has outlined its vision for leveraging technology into transitioning into an upper middle income country. AI-powered solutions alone are projected to contribute over 2 trillion Philippine pesos annually to the economy by 2030, unlocking opportunities across sectors such as retail, manufacturing, financial services, healthcare services, and IT BPM, which are all key pillars of the Philippine digital economy. This session will delve into critical areas shaping this transformation: AI-driven government initiatives, regulatory frameworks, digital infrastructure, and finally, public-private collaboration. Today's discussion is not just about identifying opportunities, but also trying to address challenges such as ensuring inclusivity, ethical governance, and sustainable growth as we navigate this digital transformation. And let me start the conversation with Dr. Gonzalo Varela here, who's from World Bank. Let me call you Gonzalo. Okay. And where does Philippines stand as far as vis-a-vis our neighbors in the ASEAN, as well as in the global, looking at it from a global perspective? What's happening out there?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. But let me go directly into your question. I like one particular indicator that is out there on artificial intelligence preparedness. that is prepared by our sister organization, the International Monetary Fund, and ranks out 165 countries according to AI preparedness, and they are looking specifically into 4 dimensions. The one that has to do with digital infrastructure in countries, another one that has to do with human capital, skills, as it was presented in the chart before. Capacity of firms to innovate, and also at legal frameworks and governance. So when one looks at that indicator, at that index, what one sees is that the Philippines is in the top half of the bunch. So ranked 67 out of 165. And when one looks at ASEAN, it's also at half position. So it's below Singapore, that is the leading in this area, slightly below Indonesia, slightly below Malaysia and Thailand, and slightly above Vietnam. So it is positioned halfway in the line. But I think the opportunities for the Philippines are substantially higher than what we see in other countries in ASEAN. And that is because a lot of the economic structure of the Philippines relies on activities that are going to be either highly enhanced by AI or highly at risk before of AI. And let me explain a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
What I mean is that the Philippines has a very large IT-enabled services sector that is highly competitive out there, that is a large source of exports for the country, a large source of employment for the country. That segment of economic activity is highly exposed to artificial intelligence. And so you have a couple of outcomes, a couple of possible outcomes there. An outcome in which the Philippines moves towards more sophisticated IT-enabled services. And I can think telemedicine, for example, that is heavily enhanced by AI. And then what we have there is a win-win. It's increased productivity for firms and better jobs for workers. Or the Philippines remains stuck at the low value end of that value chain in services that are more about data imputing, about voice services, the typical call center, that is heavily exposed to substitution in terms of jobs. So firms may become more productive, but actually jobs are going to be at risk. The key decisive factor for whether we can move up the value chain and gain, or we remain stuck and have jobs at risk, has to do with the capacity to upskill and reskill the labor force so that they can move to more sophisticated services. And this is where the Philippines has an urgency to act, to ensure that its workforce can be upskilled and reskilled to take advantage of AI as an opportunity, as a force for increased productivity. So I'll stop here, but happy to say more.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And the good thing is that the IT and the IT-enabled services industry recognizes the urgency. And in a recent was this study done by the umbrella organization, that's the IT and Business Process Association of the Philippines, or IBPAP. The study shows that at least 20% of the BPO companies operating in the country, okay, are either fully AI-enabled or in the next 12 months will be fully AI-enabled, okay? In fact, 11%, no, it's not 20%, it's 23%, I believe. 11% of them actually are, within the fully AI-enabled operations. And the good thing is that they're barely getting any help from the government as of the moment, okay? Everything, all the upskilling thing and all the implementation are actually being done by the companies themselves. They know that in order for them to, sustain their competitiveness, okay, they have to AI-enable their the operations. Let me move to my good friend Mon Gutierrez, who's representing his boss, Yusek Dave Almerol. By the way, can I see a show of hands? Who among you have downloaded the eGov Super App? Please. Okay. That's a good sign, Mon. Another question. Who among you doesn't have the physical Philippine national ID yet? Raise your hands. Okay. You don't need to actually get the physical ID, okay? Because if you have downloaded the eGov Super App, then a digital copy of your national ID is actually going to be there. And my good friend Mon here is going to be talking about that. Let me start with this question, Mon. Okay. What have you done so far? The last 2.5 years. Okay. And what's in store for, for all the Filipinos?
Okay. Yes. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us here. I'm Mon Gutierrez. I'm actually representing Yusek Dave, as Tukayo Mon, Yusek Mon mentioned. Okay. So we're coming from a directive. No? Frankly speaking, we're coming off from a directive coming from the president to digitize the national government. So when you talk of digitization, 20, 25 years ago, you'd most likely hear innovation coming in the form of simply automation. Okay? So when you talk of automation, you have to make sure that everything would promote efficiency, cost savings, and the likes. Now, with the coming of age of AI and blockchain, you can't resist the fact that, there's more to innovation than automation. So when you talk of digitization, and that's exactly what we're doing right now, no, digital transformation to be precise, transforming government services in a digitized manner, which is basically intended to deliver better service, public service, no? And that's precisely, if you're gonna ask me what we have done, we've started the ground roots. We've started the foundation for the national government to simplify, digitize, and make things work better for the average Filipino citizen. So what we have done is the launching of the eGov PH app, which is basically the first integrated digitized platform that is done 100% by government, no? And 100% by Filipinos. And this is the first time that we've integrated 22. The attempt is there to integrate 22 huge national government departments. Talk of a department of, let's say, Department of Interior and Local Government, the DILG, the Department of Health, the Department of Tourism, the Department of Budget and Management, and so on and so forth. So the most basic public service that you would think of would be the payment of government statutory requirements like SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, BIR, and of course the police clearance, NBI clearance. And what we've done so far is to integrate these basic services into one government platform. But the very basic premise of the government being able to do this is, of course, to digitize and make sure that the national ID is already digitized in the first place. So when you happen to download, that's why thank you, Yusek Mon, for asking the audience how many of them have downloaded the eGov PH app. There's a bit of improvement, but frankly, it is a big audience that we face today. I would have expected maybe half of them, no? But this is a good opportunity again for us to propagate the news that there is already that facility in government that would allow you to download your digital national ID. So when you happen to download the eGov PH app, your national ID, the digital version, is likely in there. It's in the cloud. Around 92, as we speak, around 92 million digital national ID versions have been issued by the DICT through the PSA. So the database is still very much based on the PSA because that's their mandate. Our mandate recently is just to help the PSA in the delivery of the national digital ID version. And it also is embedded with the national ID E-Verify, no? Which banks are now using, by the way. No? Our good friend Lito Villanueva here would know this very much. And some of the banks have already benefited, no, from using the facility. So that is enabling them to verify IDs that are being presented in banks. So this is very important because from here, everything else would emanate. No? All other transactions that the government would wish to digitize and automate would be based. It's there. So it's online, real time. So that's one of the biggest innovations that we've done. And we're doing this in all major national agencies. Talk about SSS, talk about Pag-ibig, BIR. There are 42 core systems, or rather 42 manually done forms that is being required by BIR. We've already automated 12 of them. So we still have to do 30, you know. So it's a big task, but BIR is so important to the national revenue generation of the government. And that's why the president would want us, no, to prioritize BIR. And of course, a BIR commissioner, Jun Lumagi, is very, very happy with this. No? So that is basically what we've done. And you talk of AI and blockchain, both would just simply add up to the innovation that we're basically doing. But in a nutshell, that's basically what we've done. At the local government level, everybody would require birth certificates, no? Marriage certificates. So soon, you could also order and pay your own birth certificate at the comfort of your home. And you just have to, use your cell phone, and that's it. So, in a nutshell, that's the overview.
Thank you. I have more questions for you, Mon. And congratulations. Why didn't I, why didn't I think of all these things when I was still Undersecretary of the ACT? I was talking to Undersecretary Dave Almerol, and when his probably first week or second week in office, and the advice I gave him was that just focus on the low-hanging fruits. Okay, you don't even have to transform everything. You don't have to disrupt everything. Just get them connected in one app, and I think that is what the eGov super app is all about. Your turn, Frank. Frank here is with, the Asian Hospital? Okay. But before I ask you a question, let me tell I'd like to tell a story which happened about a couple of weeks back. I'm actually a member of the National Innovation Council. Okay, it's a cabinet-level council that's chaired by the president. He always makes sure that he presides over our meetings. Okay, I represent the business sector, one of the private sector representatives there. And 2 weeks ago, we had a long list of topics in our agenda during our last meeting. He asked the secretariat to take out everything except AI. For that meeting, he just wanted to talk about AI. And suddenly, I was observing the other cabinet secretaries there, and they were a bit, at the edge of their seats. Okay, what can I say about AI here? And one of the guys who approached me, they know that I am actually with AAP, the AI Association of the Philippines, was Secretary Ted Arbosa, asking me if I have time to help. DOH? Okay, he would like to actually just he would like to pick my brains about opportunities and some of the perceived challenges that's available by using AI. Now, my question was this. I'll probably ask you the same questions. What opportunities are you seeing today in terms of adopting AI in healthcare services?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that question, Yusek Mon, and good morning to everyone. So, opportunities of AI in healthcare is huge. It actually starts with improving diagnostics and early detection. Because as you know, AI can analyze clinical images like X-rays, MRIs, CT scan, which in one way or another we've undergone, right? And it does it with high accuracy such that it aids in early detection of critical diseases like cancer, stroke, diabetes, and the like. And using predictive analysis, AI will be able to recognize or identify at-risk patients even before the symptoms appears. So we all know how critical or how important early detection in healthcare, right, in saving lives. Because for example, in cancer, the earlier that you're detected or diagnosed, the higher probability that you will survive. So that's how AI is super important. The other factor is developing what we call personalized treatment. So using AI will be able to analyze data from your genetics data, even lifestyle-related data and clinical data to develop personalized care or treatment plans for individuals, right? So imagine having a customized treatment plan for you, specific for your disease, because everyone's different, right? So including to the medicine and to the treatment plans from the different hospitals. So that's super powerful, right? I think the last one, this is more common. This is more on improving what we call the patient experience, because we all know how hard it is, right, to to do appointment or to get appointment in the hospital, especially for the doctors. You have to line up, wait for a long time, right? So we're actually adopting in Asian hospital what we call conversational AI for appointment. So moving forward, what you need to do is go to the website or eventually our mobile app, right? Look for a doctor or a test, lab test, imaging test that you need, and you can book it there and even pay it there. And then you can just go to the hospital when it's your time. Imagine how much time you will save in doing those. So very similar on what the ICT is doing. We're planning to develop like an healthcare app, right? Specific for patients so that patients can get and view all of the test results, clinical data that they have, so that you don't need to, keep those papers, search for your email, search for the printouts, things like that. It's all in that website or app. So those are the opportunities that I see that AI and in more general digitalization can do with regards to healthcare.
Okay, thank you, Frank. And so the only worry for patients, okay, because everything is automated, AI enabled, the queuing, the appointment system is finding a parking slot, okay, especially in most of the large hospitals here in Metro Manila. I'll give you my next question. How do you think AI would actually impact the provisioning of healthcare services to the countryside? Especially in places where there are no specialists. They only have the nurse there, or probably for those lucky ones, they have a doctor there. How do you think this would impact this dimension?
Yeah, so AI and digitalization in general will be able to help in extending or expanding healthcare in the provinces. I myself is from Bicol, USEC, right? So I feel the pain, or some of my family members are there, so sometimes we have to bring them here just to get healthcare. But we shouldn't, right? So with the advent, or for example, of introducing telemedicine to our countryside, and even up to the point of remote patient monitoring. So we now have a lot of devices that can be used so that we can enable patient care remotely. In Asian hospital, we're actually planning those because more and more there are now limited beds in the hospitals. There are long queues in the ER, right? And most of the reason is because they're waiting for available beds. Imagine if you can be provided healthcare in the comfort of your own homes. That would be great, right? And it's now very possible with AI, remote patient monitoring, with the control center that we will be establishing where 24 by 7 will be able to monitor your health, okay? And then, if needed, we'll be able to deploy nurses and doctors as scheduled. Right? So
Okay.
that's one of the plans. And maybe just to add, one of the key issues right now in healthcare is imaging. So if you're from the province, you need an X-ray, MRI, CT scan, and you need it to be read by an expert. You'll wait a long time, weeks, even months, right? But by using AI, for example, us, we're planning to establish a centralized radiology center, okay? All of those readings from the provinces can be sent to that centralized center, and we can read it with AI, right? With
okay.
AI, so that it's fast. Because the problem now is if we rely solely with the doctors, they're very limited radiologists. But given AI, it's now faster. So now we can provide those results to our patient and even to the provinces faster.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Going back to you, Mon, Tokayo. What's going to be the next big thing as far as digital, transforming our public sector digitally? I've heard of plans to do to use AI, blockchain, and other emerging assist technologies.
Yeah, I was listening intently to Dr. Frank, and one of the things that we're actually, one of the aspirations, of course, no, using AI is to fully equip a platform that we've already started. It's there, no? We just have to switch it on. We're doing this with the Philippine National Police and the Department of Health. Now, how does it work? Like if you happen to have an EGOPH app, no? And you would like to have, let's say, an appointment. If you don't feel good right now, suddenly, you feel under the weather. You'd probably have to call your usual doctor. But if you use the app, it can sense. If you want to look for the nearest doctor to your location, you can ask it, who is the nearest doctor or which hospital is the nearest to me. There's a 10-kilometer radius that would tell you that. And that is now doable, no, wherever you go. And the platform is able to determine whether you live in Cebu, whether you live in Davao, or whether you live in Manila or Lawag. It will automatically capture all those health clinics, hospitals, and accredited consultant doctors that we have. No? So that is a precursor to what we wanted to achieve, no, in terms of the e-health sector that we want to provide for the Filipinos. So that's one, and we're doing the same thing as far as the PNP is concerned. No? Like we plan to create a huge dashboard at the PNP Camp Crame, where the Philippine National Police Chief would be able to see everything, every crime that happens at the moment. Because the facility will enable an average Filipino to report any crime that's going on. And within the 10-kilometer radius, the nearest policeman should be able to respond. And the supervisor of that policeman should be able to determine if that policeman under him is actually responding pretty well. And that is going to be a dashboard situated at the Camp Crame. So these are all AI-aided. And as far as blockchain is concerned, of course, as we expose all of these features in government service, no, digitizing everything, the more that you're actually exposing it to cybersecurity threats. And so it is a must that we also deploy a blockchain technology, which we have already started. The USEC Dave has already come up with one of the nodes that would be required typically in a blockchain setup, which would allow the other parties to also be able to extract data without really hiding it from the other parties. So that's basically what we're preparing to do. But we're looking at the private sector and maybe another organization within government, because this is a huge undertaking. No? But yeah, basically that's one of the AI provisions. I forgot to mention, I'm sure many of you here have traveled in and out of the country the last 12 months or even more, almost 2 years. The e-travel is the very first AI-enabled facility that we've actually created. No? So soon, once you use it, if you are a foreigner, especially, you will be guided by the app to tell you which are the most significant activities, tourism-related, that's happening in the country, and where can you actually spend your weekend this week. So that is AI-enabled, and that's one of the things that we've done so far. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Dr. Gonzalo, why do countries, especially Philippines, who's aspiring to become, middle-income country pretty soon, okay, why do we need to actually push the growth of our digital economy? And any advice from World Bank on how Philippines can actually achieve a faster, growth for our digital economy?
Good question. So the World Bank is expecting the Philippines to transition into an upper middle income country in the next couple of years, right? It's an inevitability.
We're praying.
Right? It's an inevitability. But I was listening, quite amazed at all these things that are happening, both at government level, but also at private sector level, and thinking, perhaps if we take one step back, if we want to accelerate the growth of that digital economy, right? I think there are a couple of things that are crucial. One has to do with foundations, right? And one has to do with regulations. And with foundations, we need to think about infrastructure, both infrastructure physical and infrastructure in terms of human capital. On human capital, I mentioned a couple of things before. But on physical, if one looks at how the Philippines is performing against other countries in the region, ASEAN, right? Both in terms of access and in terms of costs, internet is relatively scarce and expensive in the Philippines, being it mobile or fixed broadband. And the fact that it's expensive makes it difficult for more firms to access it, particularly when we are thinking about remote areas. The geography of the Philippines is such that there are many remote locations in which it is difficult to get to get broadband out. We did some analysis on the impact that the rollout of fiber cables on 12 remote islands in Mindanao had. And we saw sharp increases in productivity of firms in those regions, right? So the value of the investments is there. Investing in bringing, digital infrastructure to these remote areas is valuable, is profitable, it leads to productivity of firms growing. It may not be in the best interest of telecom operators to bring it there, and that's why the role of the government is important, and I know the ICT is very much committed to doing that. But it's also important to bring more competition in the sector. If we want to accelerate the growth of the digital economy, we need more competition in that sector. Conecta Don Pinoy bill that is currently being discussed in Congress is a key reform that brings more competition for the telecom sector. And we hope that bill gets passed. But at the moment, getting new operators into the country requires a legislative franchise. So Congress needs to vote to authorize new players to come in. And that is something that we don't see in other countries. Right? In other countries, that decision of entry, so allowing entry to new operators, is not something Congress deals with. So there are a number of things that need to do on foundational, more infrastructure. The government plays a key role. The public sector investments play a key role, particularly when we are thinking about remote areas. Skills, I mentioned before, but there's also an agenda on governance, on more competition, better regulations so that we bring more private sector investment into the sector. And also, if we think about AI, no data, no AI, right? There's that principle out there. And data governance, data interoperability within government, like Georgia, for example, in South Caucasus, is using AI to go after, to detect which firms to go and audit, to collect more revenues, right? I know this is a private sector audience. They probably don't want the BIR to go and audit them and get more revenues. But from the point of view of efficient collection of resources is important. To be able to do that, to be able to deploy AI for better revenue collection, for better governance, you need interoperability of systems. You need data sharing within government. And that is an area in which also more needs to be done. And I know the ICT is working actively on that, but not more would need to be done. So I think in summary, I would say fixing the foundations is important in terms of physical infrastructure, in terms of human capital to accelerate that growth of the digital economy, but also better regulations is going to be crucial to grow that sector further.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalo. And you know what? What really differentiates us, Dr. Gonzalo, from the rest of the ASEAN countries? Probably even the Asia Pacific, okay? We are the only country that has 2 AI development roadmap. And the president during that meeting 2 weeks ago was so upset with this, okay? We have the Department of Trade and Industry version, and we have the Department of Science and Technology version, okay? He was so upset when he learned about this very fragmented approach. And that's the reason why, you know, he really wanted, we talked for 3 hours, we were talking just about AI. And he was even, you know, schooling everyone about the importance of clean data in all their organizations, in all these agencies. And I was said, oh my goodness, okay. Next time we meet, we better, he has been reading, or probably somebody's advising him on all of these things. Anyway, we're running out of time, and I'd like to take this opportunity to ask each one of our panelists to say their last few words about the topic, adoption of forces of artificial intelligence, and software as a service to push a faster growth rate for the Philippine economy. Let me start with you, Frank.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for this event because this is very important for everybody, both public and private. And if I may say, SaaS is not really dead, as mentioned earlier. Actually, it's been well optimized with AI. Just like SaaS plus AI. So I don't know if that's SaaS 2.0, but that's a really new SaaS. So SaaS plus AI. So I would like to reiterate what Dr. Gonzalo mentioned, that what's critical is really connectivity. Connectivity for everyone, right? So I don't know if there's a program called Wi-Fi for All, which is being developed right now, but it will really make a huge difference because not only the users, but only the businesses, small businesses will hugely benefit from that. Imagine the different services that it will enable, starting from the Ego-PH that the government or the ICTs is handling, and expanding it, for example, to healthcare, as Raymond mentioned earlier. Because, for example, in our organization, we're actually looking at establishing what we call a unique patient ID. Because right now, as you know, even though we're a hospital group and including other hospitals, every time you visit a hospital, you need to register, right? Every time, every time. And if you need to have some test, you have to always have a new CBC, a new X-ray, things, and it's never consolidated. By having a unique patient ID, all of your health records will be accessible anywhere. Imagine that. Whether it's from public hospital, whether it's from private hospital, it's all consolidated, and all doctors, as long as you provide them access or allow them access, you'll be able to see your historical record from way back. That would be very beneficial in developing what I called earlier the personalized treatment plan for you. And that will really be significant for all users.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. To kayo, Mon?
Okay, yeah. First of all, again, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. As a parting words, it's an exciting times for the country. We've seen our index in the digital transformation improving. From 89, we're now up to, I think, 67 or 73. 73, yeah. And the goal before the president steps down would be for us to at least reach the top 40. Okay, within the next 2.5, 3 years. The eGov.ph is basically the biggest software as a service, project of the government. It's government as a service. So essentially bringing, SaaS to the general public. And since this is very much citizen-centric, at the end of the day, the biggest beneficiary would be the average Filipino. And exciting times because the last 12 months, we've been invited as well by other countries to showcase the Philippine digital transformation journey. Just last year, we hosted 12 countries in Puerto Princesa. And they were really interested because they heard about what we're doing. So amazing. No? This is the first time that this happened to the country. So in fact, a developing country like ours is able to do this is, something else. So I leave you with that. I hope you'd be proud. So in the next 6 to 12 months, there'd be more. But of course, we wanted to do more. We just hope that we have enough time to finish all of this. Thank you.
1/3 of all jobs in the Philippines today are exposed to AI. Of that 1/3, 1/6, so half of those, are highly enhanced by AI. The wages of workers in those sectors will increase, and productivity of firms will also increase. There's another 1/6, another half of that third, that is highly susceptible to be automated by AI. So those jobs are going to be at risk. The challenge for the Philippines is to ensure that a lot of those workers in those sectors that are at risk can move to sectors that are going to be enhanced by AI. That is a challenge. It's a challenge that can be tackled through the right upskilling and reskilling to better human capital accumulation in the country. I think that is the big challenge in the face of AI here in the Philippines.
Thank you so much. The sad thing about having a geriatric was his moderator is, he enjoyed the conversation but forgot all about, the key takeaways. But anyway.
And Mon, before you forget, there's some questions from the audience. We'll ask just one question.
Oh, okay,
I hope you don't mind.
Go ahead, RJ.
Just one question. Actually, it's a very interesting question which came in from the questions which from the QR code. And mawalang galang lang po, Mr. Raymond Gutierrez. But the question over here is that, is the Philippine government moving fast enough to be a real enabler of AI innovation? I know it's a bit, I know you discussed a lot about the eGov, but we move now to AI innovation.
Yeah, well, based on what we've seen, we've invited other countries, by the way. Like, we've invited the creators of SingPass. And when they saw the eGov.ph app, they were simply amazed. Kamot ulo. to be honest with you. They thought we were inviting them. Sorry if there there are friends from Singapore here, but they thought we invited them for us to be able to, get help in terms of advancements in technology, specifically AI. But lo and behold, when they saw the eGov.ph app, they said, how else can we help you when you already have everything? In fact, you have a better app right now. So we'd like to find out more about that. So that's basically the same messages that we've received from other countries, no, who Yusek Davis now, accommodating because he was invited. And words just quickly spread. In fact, we were also informed, no, by a group from World Bank last year, if we could help them also, spread the word and maybe get us invited to a developing country in Africa, for us to be able to help.
Dr. Varela, I hope you don't mind that I get some inputs from you as well. What do you think the Philippine government needs to work on with regard to becoming a real enabler of AI innovation? Earlier on the screen, we saw that where people were saying the government can help the most is in upskilling our people to be able to have more talents when it comes to AI. What are your thoughts on how the Philippine government can further help here? If you look behind you right now, it's 48% education upskilling, 26% public service automation, 16% data and cybersecurity, and 10% startup and SME enablement. What are your thoughts, Dr. Varela?
So I mentioned two things. So one was foundational investments, and another one was regulations. On foundational investments, and thinking about that chart, the Enterprise-Based Education and Training Act is a good way to start the process. It's a good way to reskill and upskill a lot of the workforce. It needs to be implemented. The act is just out of Congress. Now it needs to be implemented. If the government manages to implement this fast and partners well with the private sector, that's going to be a game changer. In terms of infrastructure, again, same things I mentioned before are important, particularly in remote areas. Deploying that last mile of connectivity is crucial. And then bringing more competition to the sector is also going to be important. Remember, competition is what drives reductions in prices, and access to broadband relies on it being good quality and cheap. So competition is also crucial there.
Got that, Dr. Varela. And finally, Mr. Vibar, from a private sector standpoint, where do you think the government can continue working on to be able to become a real enabler of AI innovation?
Yeah, it's through collaboration. So there are, of course, we know that government's doing a lot of things, right? But please do note that the private sector is here to help, right? So I think by doing collaboration, we'll be able to do more.
And with that, a round of applause, please, for this panel discussion. Let's give them a louder round of applause. Thank you so much for our discussion. AI, government, and the SaaS, unlocking growth in the Philippines' digital economy. May we invite you, Sir Monchit, for a photo together here on stage with our panel discussants, together with Mr. Gian De La Rama, Chief Product and AI Officer, and Ana Pañares, AVP of Sales of Sprout Solutions. Please join us here on stage. And again, if you found this discussion enlightening and insightful, we invite all of you continue uploading your photos online. The hashtag to use is SaaSconPH. Again, the hashtag to use is SaaSconPH. In the meantime, we won't be taking a break, as all of you have been served food earlier on. We just like to remind everyone here this morning that we will have 3 breakout sessions this afternoon. Again, we hope that you've all signed up for your breakout sessions this afternoon. You can find that on the app of SaaScon. And thank you to all our speakers. One more round of applause, please, to all the speakers on stage. And as a reminder, we've got 3